Adding particles to your game can greatly enhance the look and feel and fun of your game because you can add stunning visual effects just using the SK Emitter node class. And the SK Emitter node objects are nodes that create and render particles. And we're going to have a look at some examples later, also how we will use particles in our game. But first of all, let me tell you that these particles are privately owned by SpriteKit, which means that your game and you as developer cannot access or modify these generated sprites. They are completely administered by SpriteKit. And what you can do with these particles or with the SK Emitter node is to create smoke, fire, sparks, and other really cool looking particle effects in your game. And these particles are really purely visual objects, and their behavior is entirely defined by the emitter node that created them. And the emitter node contains many properties to control the behavior of the particles it spawns. And just to give you a quick overview about what you can adjust, these are all the properties that we can visually adjust in the SpriteKit editor when we create these particles. And in our game, this looks something like this, and we have on the left hand side a pulse animation that we're going to use for our player just to make it look a little cooler, and on the right we have this fireworks that lets the user know that we have now hit the target, and it's just a very satisfying feeling to see this really cool animation every time you hit your target. And all of that does not have to be created in code. We're using the Xcode's particle emitter editor to create those emitter nodes and to create these particles, and this has a few advantages, like it is the best way to learn the capabilities of these of this emitter class, because you can adjust so many things and you really have to get a feeling for all of these properties that you can adjust just to create the particle that you really want. And you can move more quickly and experiment with new particle effects and see the results immediately without having to build and run your game every time. And you separate the task of designing a particle effect from the programming task of using it. So your artists can work on new particle effects while you independently create your game code. So this all is really, really cool. So let's get started and create our first particle effects.